Alrighty, guys, now with rumors saying that third-party publishers are reconsidering their stance with the Xbox brand, they're not sure if they want to put their games out on it. I can see this myself. I see where they're coming from because I look at my Xbox like a lot of other people I know. I look at it as a Game Pass machine. That's the way I see it. That's just the way it is. And of course, if you go to your local game store now, you see a lot less Xbox games, physical games versus PlayStation 5 and Switch games. You don't see a lot of Xbox games like you did in the past. Xbox, even though they do support disc and all this, they just support physical media. It's not what it once was. You can see the shift that Xbox is making. And again, when I think of Xbox, I think of Game Pass. And I think that's what Microsoft's goal is in the first place, is to make it, you want Game Pass with it. You want Game Pass with it. That was their goal. And that's what I see it as a Game Pass machine. If I buy like a third-party game or anything like that, I always look for the PlayStation to play my third-party games. If you're a console gamer, you know what I'm talking about. And again, you got the PC market doing a lot of that also. You've actually got people who uses their PlayStation 5 just for the first-party games, and they use their PC for all the third-party games. That's how a lot of people are doing that now. And with the Xbox, they see it as a Game Pass. That's the way I see it. And of course, if I want to play Microsoft's first-party games, I'll just use Game Pass because it's $15, $16 a month. It doesn't sound like a lot, I know, but over a year, that does add up, especially when there's not much to play on it. But this is why third-party publishers, the sales of the Xbox are down. They don't sell a lot of the game, a lot of Xbox games. A third-party publisher, they're going to sell a lot more stuff on the PlayStation 5. And if you can put it on the Switch, you're probably going to sell more versions of it on the Switch. And I know it's easy to put a game digitally on Xbox, but I'm sure there's a cost to making that version just for the Xbox, and you got to make a Series S version for the Xbox. And now with the new Xbox coming out, you're going to have to make another version of the game for the new Xbox. Say the PlayStation 5 has a PlayStation 5 Pro, so say the Xbox has a Series X Pro or whatever, updated version of the Xbox Series X. That's just another version of a game you have to make, even if you put it on there digitally, which, you're going to put it on there digitally. Even if you put it on there digitally, it's still you got to have a reason to put it on. You got to get your costs back of making the game. And when you see the Xbox console sales, you see what I'm talking about. It's way behind the PlayStation 5 because a lot of people just see it as, a Game Pass machine. And that's the way I see it. That's the way a lot of people I know see it. And that's one of the big things I think that's hurt it, but that's kind of what Microsoft wanted at the same time. Microsoft's goal would be to get Game Pass on everything, on TVs, on your PlayStation 5 and Switch. If Sony would let Microsoft and if Nintendo would let them put them on their systems, they would do it. Because Microsoft has a different goal in mind. They're playing the subscription model like Netflix. And while Sony and Nintendo have their own, well, especially Sony has their own version of that, it's not nowhere near like Xbox, as we know, because of, like God of War, a new God of War game is not going to come out on the PlayStation Plus. But on Game Pass, you're going to get that new Halo game, that new Gears of War game. You're going to get it day one, just like with the new Hellblade coming out. You're getting that day one on Game Pass. And this strategy will work for Microsoft. I believe if they can ever get, say, 5 to 10 games, and just imagine if they had like 5 big games or 10 games this year, say 5 or 6 games. Let's be conservative. Say they had a game like every 2 or 3 months that was critically acclaimed and just awesome. That would keep pushing. That would push more people to Game Pass. That would sell more Xboxes. That's the whole point. So this is kind of the way it is. Xbox kind of did this to themselves. This is why third-party publishers don't want to support the Xbox, because they see it as a Game Pass machine. Game Pass has hurt them and helped them, if that makes sense. That's just the way it seems to me. And I think a lot of third parties, when you got the PC and you got the PlayStation 5, you've got a great install base right there. And I know people's like, they just ported over to the Xbox. There's a cost to do that. It's not, you just make this, it's not making this version. It costs millions of dollars to make a version of a game for the Xbox, just like it does for the PlayStation. I know it's the same game, but they've got to do all this stuff to make it run on that system. It's not like you just change a few little things and you put it in that system and it works the same. It's not that simple. So this is kind of what Microsoft wanted. The Game Pass has helped them at the same time as hurt them. And I think their strategy, if they can ever get games, games out that work, good games that people want to keep playing and get a few hits. This Hellblade game looks like it's going to be great. This looks like it's going to be something that helps them out. If they can have 3 or 4 more games this year, which they're not going to, but if they could, maybe next year, we would see Xbox really start to take off. The Game Pass would take off beyond. Beyond. It would be beyond the console. I know it's on PC. We'd see it take off even more on PC. And you might sell some more Xboxes if you can get some excitement behind the brand. But that's the way I see it with the Xbox, So much potential here with Microsoft. They bought so many studios and spent so much money on these studios. They've spent, over $100 billion the last few years trying to get their brand up. I think eventually, if they can keep this going, they can possibly have one of these great years like, say, Nintendo had, where they just had release hits after hits come out. The good old days back when you would have a game come out every few months, it was just a flat-out hit. It was a game that was a 9 or a 10. Sony had it going there for a while with the PlayStation 4. Xbox never really has had that momentum push. They'll have like this Hellblade game come out. It might be 5 or 6 months or longer before you have the next big game. So, Xbox strategy is different than Nintendo's and Sony's, no doubt about it. But we'll see how it goes from here. But anyway, that's my thoughts on this. It's kind of what Xbox did to itself. This is what they've done to themselves. But they're pushing Game Pass to the moon, and that's their strategy. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up. We'll see you next time. Toodles, and remember, destiny is all.